it's really hard to break a world record when everyone expects you to break a world record. Typically, world records are broken unexpectedly. Like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, a big surprise. There's no buildup. But every time Sydney McLaughlin now steps on the track for notable races, there's an expectation that she has to run all-time great marks. And she did just that. She runs 51-41. Some call it a season's best. Some call it a personal best. We can just call it the world record because Sydney McLaughlin now has the 2 fastest times ever run over 400-meter hurdles. Not only that, she has 4 of the fastest 5 times ever run in the 400-meter hurdles. They have yet to update the all-time list, but now she has the number 1, the number 2, the number 4, and the number 5. Only Dalilah Muhammad, who wasn't in this race, has run in the Sydney McLaughlin tier. Like, there's a new tier now. There's the McLaughlin tier, and the only one invited is Sydney and Dalilah from last year. It's a very exclusive club. It's hard to get in. It's hard to get into it. There's a very complex password, but the password is be one of the greatest runners that we've ever seen, and you get to be in Sydney McLaughlin's company. But let's just break down this race. It is incredible to see a 400-meter hurdle stagger get made up on an elite athlete in Britton Wilson within the first 2 hurdles, maybe 2 to 3 hurdles. On the back stretch, Sydney had already made up the stagger, which had to have been super confusing for the competition to her right, because you're like, wait a minute, I'm getting caught now? There's still like 300 meters to go. This doesn't make any sense. But when you're running in the Sydney McLaughlin era, what doesn't make sense happens. And Sydney, with all the poise, just controls the entire race, has no real like motivation or person to push her. She could have easily just decided, I'm going to cruise, run 53 low, call it a day, get ready for Worlds. Like, she did not need to run as fast as she did. And I think she needs to be given credit for doing, because we're seeing at this World Championships, athletes just trying to get through, athletes, having the bye and then scratching or running a different event or, saving it for Worlds. She decided to throw down the world record 3 weeks out from the World Championships. She's not she doesn't need to save anything. She doesn't need to like perfect her peak, because she is talented enough to throw down a world record without any necessity to it, because now world records are her new yearly goals. Like, every time she's how old is Sydney, Kevin? 22?
22, I think.
For the next 8 years, her yearly goal is going to be like, just run the world record. That's the yearly goal now. So she did it last year. She did it this year. Step 1, world record. Step 2, win the global title. And it's going to be hard for her to be beat. I think the only way Sydney is ever going to get beat now in the next 4 years is she has a stomach bug or a cramp and just isn't her normal self, or she mistakenly trips and falls on one of the hurdles. But outside of that, no one is toe-to-toe, talent versus talent, known as being Sydney in our generation. Kevin,
I'm here.
You're here a lot earlier. I've only done like 4 minutes of Sydney talk.
Can I join the pod?
You can join the pod. This is now a 2-person pod.
I was told that I need to make sure I'm here for the first half
Yes.
of the pod.
Yeah.
I'm responding to customer feedback. So, hello everyone. This is Kevin. I'm here.
Yes.
Sydney.
Any last thoughts on Sydney?
So, anything's possible. You said that a bunch of times, which for her, it's actually true. Most people say anything. Most people say that. Kevin Garnett yelled it after the Celtics won the championship. With Sydney, it's actually true. I asked, what I want to know was, hey, we always thought those records came when you had great competition, because it was back and forth, her and Muhammad. But this, there wasn't any. I mean, second and third ran really well, but it was all Sydney from the get go, and I said, well, 400 hurdles, like, do you need that competition? And I'm starting to wonder, yeah, can this just be kind of a solo act where she's just crushing it by herself? But I thought she was going to do it based off of how she ran yesterday. She was super comfortable, controlled, relaxed. We knew it based on the Nashville race with the hurdles in the wrong spot and what she ran. This was not unexpected in any way, shape, or form. And I think the point about needing to come up with new goals is dead on, because what she's achieved in the 400 hurdles in just a few years is remarkable, and you're checking off all the boxes. She doesn't have a world title, so presumably she'll get that in 3 weeks' time. But it's going to take something remarkable for that to change. So, world record, I called it. Do I get bonus points on our picks?
No, you don't get bonus points. No bonus points. We'll talk about our picks later in the pod. You talk about this. Okay, Sydney, Olympic champion.
Yeah.
Breaking world record. She owns 4 of the fastest 5 times ever.
Yeah.
She's probably going to win global title in 3 weeks from now. Should Sydney step away from the 400 hurdles and move into a new event and try to rack up titles, records in a new event? Because she has nothing left to do in this 400-meter hurdles outside of winning global title.
Yeah.
You could argue, oh, you want to win multiple, like win 5 years in a row's worth or whatever.
Yeah.
But she has the times. She's clearly going to win. But like, should Sydney at this age decide to just do like a little bit of, change of scenery and like become a quarter runner, run the 400, maybe even try to get really good, pull a Fred Curley, become a 200 runner.
200. I've talked about this before, even after that Nashville race. She got to GOAT status super quick. Yeah. And not in the way of everybody's a GOAT all the time now, because that's the era we live in. She got to that point in 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Or she will get, if you're saying, okay, she needs a world championship gold and she needs another all-time mark, then okay, whatever. We'll have this conversation again and come back and see me in a month. But because she's done that, you could make that argument, hey, she's checked off all the boxes. I think it just comes down to what she's interested in doing. Is it continuing to just dominate and rack up medals? Because that sounds awesome to me. And I think most athletes would take that. Is it, I want to push myself in another event? Then yeah, she could go to the 4. She's fortunate that she has that other event. Mondo Duplantis doesn't really have that other event. It's not as if he's going to say, all right, let's pick up what's this javelin all about? How does this, okay, it's really sharp on one side. That's kind of fun. Maybe I can learn to do that.
It's a short pole vault.
Yeah. Mondo, obviously a great athlete, but doesn't have that companion event like 400 hurdles. I would imagine 400 is tough to train for, but I imagine 400 hurdles even more grueling and stressful. Maybe that just takes off some strain, some stress, and she could lengthen her career. But yeah, I guess we could have this conversation again in 3 weeks after she just tears it up again at the World Championships. But there's a clear path to where this is going and where this has been, and it's her dominating this event for as long as she wants to.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, we say this about, I was saying a little bit about Fred Curley yesterday, but like when you see these great athletes just actually pull off great performances, it makes you kind of,
makes you feel like it's easy or routine.
Yeah, it makes
expected.
It's easy, and it also kind of makes you not appreciate it as much. Like, because now it's become an expectation, and it's like when you see it over and over again, you're like, greatness is only supposed to happen once every 10 years, once every 5 years, once every Olympic cycle. But for it to happen like multiple times in like a 2-year period, you kind of dilute your greatness.
No. You enhance your greatness, but it becomes diluted from the outside. I
just wanted to use the word dilute.
Yeah, you used it incorrectly, but that's okay. Now, I wasn't in the stadium for this one. We were in the media area doing interviews, and I was watching it, but maybe it's just because the fans, the size of the crowd wasn't as big. But yeah, this one didn't feel like it had that much whoa to it because we've expected it. Like we saw it coming. Wow, you can brace yourself for it because I was there in Des Moines when Muhammad got it, right? We all watched, what happened and I was there in Doha, like all these great moments over the last couple of years of 400-meter hurdling. It's just been them outdoing themselves like over and over again. But yeah, we've gotten to a point where she's so good that you just have an expectation of Well, could she be 0.01 better today? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Like the Tokyo race was this historic, amazing, crazy. Could that be a once in a lifetime event? You said winning time this year could be low 52s.
Yeah.
You thought there would be a little bit of a regression to the mean.
It still could be.
Well, it could be for two of that big three could still be in that spot, but it's clearly it was Sydney just scratching the surface in 2019 and in 2021. And could she go? That might be the biggest jump of time left in her career, going from trials in 21 to a world champion or Olympics in 21. But you can't tell me she's not gonna be able to go 0.01 faster off of this.
You can go 0.01 faster in anything.
Yeah. Well,
and if that's
a point,
is there a point though?
Yeah.
Like could I be 0.01 faster tomorrow if I do that every day?
Yeah, you hit a wall. You can't run a 0-second 100. But my point being, she didn't have any comp, and maybe that's the problem with every world record holder. Eventually, unless you're in the greatest era of all time, which we were for a little bit, but you run out of competition. But I don't know, like the weather, the conditions. Was that we know the track is quick. She's done well here now for 2 years running, but the hurdles are so much technical stuff you could fix and clean up and change. And I want to see her in a quarter just because I want to see what she's capable of in that event.
I want to see her try to win 2 individual golds in the same championship.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's
like a 400 hurdle double. That would be fun.
Yeah, because if you really are the greatest of all time at that young age, you'd get to the point where you're also like, well, why do I need to do that double? Like I'm still going to be the greatest 400 hurdler of all time, whether or not I do that or I don't.
But she should find a way to win a 400 hurdle title in like 53 seconds,
and then run
the 400 all out in 48, and then you have 2 times.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was obviously the race of the day.
Yeah. Gordon didn't watch it live, by the way. Gordon was doing an interview because he's dedicated to his job,
my craft,
and he turned around and I said, "Sydney set world record,"
and I was like, "Dang it!"
So I broke the news to him.
You broke the news.
It's kind of like when you broke the news on this pod that Duke lost. I know Colt remembers that. Producer Colt.
Coach K has retired from basketball.
That was breaking. Just came across the wire.